Hi, it's Kassy, artist in residence with Imagine. I'm going to make this fall card with awesome Rinea paper and some great Imagine supplies. I have really been loving making mixed media cards lately, and I've been doing them in the square format, and they're so fun. Look at this Rinea paper. It's gold on one side, brown on the other. It holds embossing really well. It bends and holds its shape really well. This stuff is really cool, fun to use. I'm having a great time. So I'm using a stencil and embossing plates with it and running it through the Big Shot, and it's going to emboss this paper. Now I kept this to show you that the first time here it was crooked, I didn't line it up right, and I thought, I wonder what would happen if I ran it through again. Just let's see what happens. Maybe it'll be okay, maybe it will be really horrible. So let's find out. So I ran it through again, and look at that. It took the new embossing and the other one wasn't there. I mean, it just completely re-embossed it. It's so awesome. I'm loving this paper. Really, really fun to use. So next I'm sanding it with sandpaper, just a kind of a soft sandpaper. You don't want it too harsh. I didn't want to rip the paper. I just wanted to have some sort of scratches and distress marks in it, and the raised bit to be silver. So I'm coming in with some walnut ink spray here and some water, and I'm just going to move that all around this paper. I really want to grunge it up and distress it and give it just a really worn, weathered kind of look. This paper is super awesome, but it does take a little bit longer for some of the inks to dry on it because it's less porous than regular paper. So I used some copper irresistible color texture spray and just splattered a little bit here and there and kind of mixed it with that walnut ink just to give a little bit more metallic sort of interest. So now I'm going to gesso some other surfaces that I'm going to add pigment to later on. So the first thing here, I'm working with some clay molded pieces that I made, and I covered those with gesso. And then I'm going to take that same white gesso and cover these chipboard pieces so that I can spray them and paint them and put other colors and pigments on them and get the desired result that I want. So I'm going to do that to both of these chipboard pieces just to prime them, get them ready. So one of the chipboard pieces, I decided I wanted it to have a gold base, just a light kind of subtle gold base. So I'm using the creative medium here just to try it out and see how it would work, and brushed it on a really thin coat to see how it would take it. And I really liked the way that it turned out. I like the subtle gold from just doing kind of one layer there, and then I dipped it in those metal, they're gold foil pieces. I don't want these foil pieces to be shiny though in this case, because I'm really after a good distressed, sort of worn, weathered kind of look for this whole piece. So I'm going over these chipboard pieces with some firework spray. First I started with the potter's clay, and then I went over it with rich cocoa, and then eventually I put some of the walnut ink spray over top of that. And really I'm just trying to dull down that foil and give it a little bit more distressed look, and so that's what I'm doing there. So I have this strip of just paper, patterned paper. It says Hello Autumn, and I've cut the end there to have the points, and I'm going to start working on my layout, deciding how I want the pieces to go together and what I want the finished piece to look like. So often when I'm working in mixed media, pretty much most all of the time, I really like to work in layers, and I think layers add complexity and great dimension, and really, if it's done right, can lend itself well to enhancing the focal point. And so that's why I've chosen this awesome stencil here and use the copper creative medium through it to create that great tree ring there that's really going to help bring focus to my focal point and to help again with the layers and the texture. So I really love the way purple and copper and brown look together, and this is Irresistible Pico Embellisher in Lilac Posies, and I really love brushing on that Pico Embellisher because when it dries, it kind of settles in the cracks. It's darker, it's a little bit shimmery, or I'm sorry, not shimmery, but kind of glossy, but more of like a satiny gloss. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks great, and I love using it on three-dimensional pieces. So then I had this pod that was just from like an autumn, stem set, and I really wanted to put some gold foil and glitter on the base of those pods just to give them a little bit more character. I think they're really, really cool on their own. Just adding a little gold touch there. And then I created this white base for the Rinea paper because I'm going to be adding all of these elements on top of it. And I want to make sure that it's nice and sturdy and it can hold all the chipboard and the flowers and everything I'm going to put on top of it. So that's why I put that white base on there. And then I'm thwacking the edges with some Brilliance ink, continuing the distressing. And I love using string or twine or things like that to add a little bit more texture and layers. So this gold thread just, I felt like, worked perfectly for this. So I'm thwacking the edges of those chipboard pieces as well in the same way. So now that I've prepared all of my elements, I need to pull them all together and create my layout on the front of this card. Creative Medium, and I'm using it in the clear. You can use it in any color. It will work the same. But it is a fantastic adhesive for mixed media projects. If you notice here, I've got those plastic pods, I have paper, I have chipboard, I have clay pieces, I have paper flowers. All of these things are stuck down with just that creative medium, and it holds really well. It's very strong. Those pieces are not going anywhere once they've dried. I really recommend using creative medium if you do any kind of mixed media work. It's a great product to use. So I'm sticking this down to my card base. And then I decided I wanted to add just one more touch after I've stuck it down, and that is putting some Nuvo drops here. I really love this orange. It's kind of a lightish, rusty, autumn pumpkin kind of orange, and I just think it has a lot of great personality, and I thought it finished this card nicely. So there it is. I love making mixed media cards, and this is why. Because it's small, it was quick to make, and it looks beautiful, and I think anyone would love to receive this. And you get to play with different products and learn how they work. So I hope you found some inspiration here. As always, please visit imaginecrafts.com for more inspiration. Thank you so much.